Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. This video is to demonstrate the changes that you'll see in CTM with the new navigation menu. So once you're logged into CTM, if you're in desk mode, you'll want to go ahead and exit out of desk mode, and then you'll see this similar screen here, and you should have a little blue bar at the top that says our classic navigation menu will retire on July 21st. Unless you're already using the new navigation, in which case you're ahead of the game. So in this bar, you have a link here to learn more, and then you can also click this to go ahead and update your CTM to use the new navigation. Otherwise, you can also go into the settings tab here and then click try the new nav. Either one will work. And then basically what this new navigation menu is doing is changing this whole top bar and kind of like where all of these different links live. So you'll see that once I switch over here. Now, this help article here just kind of explains a little bit more about the change and what you can see. So definitely feel free to reference this, but it's pretty straightforward. So I just wanted to walk you guys through it pretty quickly, just so you can see it in action, see a visual of it. And then of course, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the Coalmarch support team by submitting a ticket at support.coalmarch.com. So once you've switched over, this is what it will look like, again, not in desk mode. If I were to go back into desk mode, you really wouldn't see any changes there. That's all still going to look the exact same. So I'm going to go ahead and exit again. And basically, you can just see that it's a lot more condensed, and everything that you need to get to is going to live in two places. So on the left-hand side, you'll see this hamburger menu. And if you click that, that will expand the new navigation. And so it'll be a left sidebar navigation here. And we'll go through this in just a second. And then you can see it'll change to an X. And then if you click that, that will collapse it again. And then over here, you'll have a drop down. You'll see your profile picture and the account that you're in, your email, etc. And then if you click that, you'll be able to see these other, list of settings and links. So at the top here, you'll have your toggle to go into dark mode, or you can go back into light mode. You'll be able to see what your role is. So depending on your role, you may not see everything that is showing here. You'll be able to log out. And then you also have a status drop down here as well. And then you'll have your profile, your account settings, billing settings, a link to manage users, user licenses, and then change history. So those all live here in this section. And again, once you go into any of these links, like if I go into the profile, all of that is still going to look the exact same as you are used to. It's just how you get to this point that is changing. So now I'm going to go over to this left-hand navigation, and I'm going to go over here to activities and go back to the call log. So everything, like I said before, is going to be grouped into these different categories. For the most part, they have stayed the same, but there are going to be some that have changed a little bit. So flows is kind of a new one that wasn't there before. So I'll just start at the top and go all the way down and just kind of break down what is in each of these sections. So under activities, this is going to be anything related to the actual, calls and texts and activities that are happening in your account. So you'll have a separate log for each of these different things here. So calls, texts, forms, chats, and faxes, depending on which of these that you're actually using. So if you want to go into text, you would just click text, and that will filter for just text messages, and so on and so forth. That's another thing to be aware of is the filter panel is right below this navigation menu. So you might sometimes accidentally click that instead of the hamburger. Then you can come here and you'll see forms. So really, again, it's just a way to kind of break down this activity log based on the type of contact that you want to look at. Below that, you have these links that are related to the contacts in your system. So if you have a contact list, there's a section for lists here, favorites, blocked, numbers, do not call and do not text lists, and then your bulk text messaging also lives here as well. And then below that is the numbers section. So this is going to be anything related to the numbers in your account. So tracking numbers, receiving numbers, If you have a number port, that would be in here, fax numbers. You can also go in here to purchase new tracking numbers. And then call settings is going to be a setting just related to your tracking numbers. That is where the recording would play for this call this call may be recorded for quality and training purposes. If your state requires that, then you would have that in your call settings. And then Trust Center, that is going to be something pertaining to a regulatory change that's happening in CTM called Stir/Shaken, and it's actually industry-wide for the telecommunications industry. We'll definitely be sending out some more information on that soon. So you don't really need to worry about that right now, but that's what that is. And then dynamic numbers are going to be the numbers that are pertaining to your website specifically. So a tracking code, target numbers, all of those things are related to your website. And then tracking sources is just any tracking source in your account that you might have a tracking number associated to, that would live here as well. Then below that, we have flows. So this is going to be more about how the call actually moves throughout your system. So routing, if you have a voice menu or a phone tree, queues, smart routers, geo routers, schedules, call scripts, and routing tables, all of these are pertaining to just different settings for how your phone system is set up. Most of the time, you'll be reaching out to us to make any changes to that. But if you do need to access these, this is where that will live. And then below the routing is the automation section. So this is where you would have triggers, reminders, auto dialers, and lambdas. And then lastly, your form reactors for the actual forms that might be set up in your account. Now below flows is reports. So this one again should be pretty familiar, but it just kind of, again, breaks it up into different sections. So for your reports, you have your standard activity report, an accuracy report, and then this overview is that initial custom report, the default one that CTM provides. If you have additional custom reports showing in your navigation, then they would show here below the overview. And then they've broken up the contact center reports into their own sections. So you'll have your real-time agents report here, a quick link to the live agents. So if you're live listening to agents calls, you can actually just go here to do that directly versus having to access it through the real-time agents report. And then same thing with agent activity, another similar report to monitor a specific agent. Then you'll also see account usage. And then below that is just the settings related to reports. So if you wanted to view all of your custom reports, you could come to this link. There's also notifications, scoring, and tags. Again, mostly just settings related to those types of things. Then we have the help section. So all of these links are going to be pertaining to call tracking metrics support and the resources that they have available. So there's links to their knowledge base, the Launchpad, which is like a learning community. They also have a forum. So if you wanted to go into the community, you can do that. Then they just have some various links in here that you may or may not need. The ticket portal would be if you were to have a support ticket open with CTM directly. So again, likely you don't need that. You'd be using Coalmarch for your support. They also have a blog. The only other link that is helpful would be the status link. And that would just be if you wanted to check and see if there was anything going on with call tracking metrics. This is where they report on, the different statuses that they have, and you can kind of see what's happening if something's going wrong. We check this often. We get alerts for this. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can actually come here and subscribe to updates to get these directly from call tracking metrics. So that is it for the help section. And then lastly in here is the settings. So this would be anything that's related to a setting would live in this section. So you have your account settings, billing settings, managing your users, your team's phone settings, access control groups, user licenses, if you have an integration, custom fields, and then just various different things. And again, you may not see all of these things and you may never need to use any of them. I just, again, wanted to go through this in detail and make sure that everyone was aware of where everything is going to live going forward. So that is pretty much it. As I already said, If you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to us. You can submit a ticket at support.coalmarch.com and we'll be happy to help. I hope this video was helpful, and we'll talk to you again soon.